Joanna, a Spanish enthusiast, once came to Argentina. During a party, she tried to flirt with the guide and called him bizcocho, thinking that, like in Colombia, she was calling him pretty, cute, and handsome. To Joanna's great surprise, the man left offended. Shortly after the party, Joanna discovered that bizcocho in Argentina means cross-eyed. Now, that's not exactly a great way to start a conversation, right? The subtleties of the language and the fact that there seem to be different versions of Spanish, one for each Latino country you see, called regionalisms, make many English speakers get the impression that Spanish is a very difficult language to learn. After all, if 20 countries speak Spanish, that must mean that there must be 20 different versions of Spanish to learn, right? Let's find out!
Spanish Black Belt.
Hola mi amigo, I'm Brian from Spanish Black Belt. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Spanish regionalisms, so make sure you stay to the end to learn when you should just ignore them and when you should embrace them. Just as American English is slightly different from British English, Spanish has many slightly different variations depending on which country it's spoken in. Does that mean that a Cuban can understand a Mexican and vice versa? They certainly do in a similar fashion that how an American can understand a British. Even if a Hispanic speaks just one language, Venezuelan Spanish is slightly different from the Spanish that speak in Mexico, Cuba, and Argentina, because each country has its own slang and accent. The dictionary defines regionalisms as those words, accents, and grammar diversions that are part of a specific country or geographical location. While you can say amigo to refer to a Hispanic friend from anywhere on the planet, the Spaniards and Latin Americans tend to use different words to refer to his friends in the day-to-day life. For example, when a Chilean will say weón to refer to a friend or someone whom he trusts, a Colombian will say parce, and a Mexican will say carnal. If you decide to visit one of these countries without knowing this kind of expressions, you might feel a little confused until you adapt to the local slang. Is it okay not to use regionalisms? The good news about Spanish regionalisms is that you don't have to learn them all. In fact, all native Spanish speakers at our Spanish school, Spanish Black Belt, teach what we call neutral or mainstream Spanish. That is, the Spanish that you can use in any part of the world, since it doesn't use the characteristic regionalisms of a specific country. For example, the ceseo, the increased use of Z, is something that will come in handy while you are in Spain, but it's not necessary to make you understand, and it's something that you will adapt naturally after spending some time in Spain. The ultimate goal of learning language is to understand each other, break barriers between people of different countries, and not necessarily to learn what sets them apart. Learning regionalisms can not only be fun and addictive, but also represents an excellent tool to integrate more easily into a Latino community and avoid misunderstandings. How different from one another are these regionalisms? If you pay attention to the pronunciation of native Spanish speakers, and in particular you take a closer look at our playlist on Spanish regionalisms, you will discover a few interesting things. The first thing is that the Spanish slang might be abandoned in informal speech. In fact, we have dedicated a full video for the slang of the many Latin countries that you can find at the click of the button. As a disclaimer, please note that these videos are dense in the use of slang. Most people will not use this much of slang in a short period of time. We try to use as much slang as we could in just 1 minute for educational purpose. The second interesting thing is that, just like in our example of what happened with my friend Joanna, is that the same word or phrase can mean different things depending on which country you are in. In Peru, for example, the phrase que pena means this is so sad, while in Colombia the same phrase will mean I am embarrassed. Similar in Colombia, you will call a young woman pelada, which is quite curious considering that in the rest of the Hispanic countries, pelada means bald. Imagine if you call a bald woman pelada in a country other than Colombia. You will become the next Chris Rock of your country, that's for sure. Without prior exposure to the regionalisms of other countries that rather than its own, a native Spanish speaker will need no more than a week to adapt to the slang, phrases, and accents of the host country, since these differences in language are quickly interpreted by our brains. What variety of Spanish should I learn? You can learn any variety of Spanish if you are a beginner student. A good idea, however, might be to learn a variety of a country that you are more in love with. This will help you to find the fire that you will need to overcome any barriers you might encounter along the way. If you like tapas, for example, or you like flamenco, learn Spanish from Spain. If you love musicians such as Karol G, Maluma, or Shakira, learn Spanish from Colombia. But if you like tango or soccer, learn Spanish from Argentina. This way, it will be easier for you to stay motivated and you will learn at a faster pace. What nationality should my Spanish tutor to be from? You may hear that Colombia has the purest Spanish. While this might be true as Colombians not use as many regionalisms as other countries, instead of thinking what nationality my tutor has, you should be evaluating which has the ability to motivate you to learn, you understand and retain what you need to learn about the language, and help you once and for all speaking Spanish. In our opinion, at the beginner level, your Spanish teacher should be able to speak with clear diction and without strong regional accents. As you progress, your teacher of course can also teach you some of the expressions that might be specific of their region and filter the natural accent. When should I start learning regionalism? If you're just starting with the Spanish language, I would recommend that you start learning natural Spanish and begin to familiarize with the pronunciation of the words of a specific country only once you reach an intermediate or advanced Spanish level. There are many things you must learn if you are totally new to the language, such as the structure and vocabulary, before you start learning about the subtle variations in pronunciation or jargon observed among different Spanish-speaking countries. At an early stage, it is therefore not that relevant to study the uniqueness of Spanish from a specific country. At the beginner's level, your goal should be to be able to communicate verbally to as many people as possible. Just by interacting with the Spanish teacher and spending time with him, you will be getting exposed slowly but surely to the Spanish accents and jargons that he might include along the way. These are the benefits of comprehensible immersion, a method that we strongly believe in which consists in conduct our class entirely in Spanish, but in a way to make us understood even if you are a true beginner student. On your journey to learn Spanish, you will make mistakes. It is part of the process to learn Spanish. It is making those mistakes that will make you a better Spanish speaker and to be more ready when love knocks down your door or the true opportunities in life come along. If you find this video useful, be sure to subscribe to our channel, smash that like or me gusta button, and hit the notification bell to be notified as soon as we post the next video. And check out our website, SpanishBlackbelt.com, to learn more about the different options that we have to help you with your Spanish through our comprehensible immersion approach. Thanks for watching y hasta la próxima.